What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to the Bridging the Gap podcast. Hello to everyone watching. We're in a new, and hello to everyone not watching who's listening to these sweet velvety voices, aka my voice, while you're driving on the motorway, while you're eating your meal, while you're doing your cardio, whatever you are doing. I'm sat in my kitchen. Behind me is four floor to ceiling windows, so it's kind of a cool setting here. So we've moved settings, no other reason than outside there's an air conditioning man trying to fix our air conditioning, hence the outfit. Again, those guys who are listening, I'm currently in a pair of shorts, and that is it, because it is absolutely boiling in this house. It's been 30 degrees yesterday, then it rained in the evening, so that 30 degrees became 30 degrees with just heat and humidity, which was brutal to sleep in. We had 2 fans delivered to us as soon as our aircon went out 2 days ago. The Airbnb guys, the thing is, they've been so nice to us. Like, they brought us beers. I don't drink beers, but they brought us beers, cold beers as well. So they have done everything they probably could do to try and make the situation right. So I'm not going to go ham on them, but we have some air conditioning people here finally, because it is so hot. So if you do hear bangs or pauses in the podcast, is because we've essentially just had to talk to them, or they're opening up the wall to put the air conditioning pipes through, one of the two, because the whole thing has completely gone. I'm hoping it's fixed tonight though, because last night was horrible for everyone involved. So guys, I thought today I would just push on with just some questions today. Like, we've not had an elongated question and answer session. We'll try and hit as many different topics as possible. I try and encourage people not just to talk about bodybuilding, because there is much more to my life and my brain than just bodybuilding. But of course, we're very, very bodybuilding centric here. So if you're new here, welcome. Happy to have you. The first question here: when are you coming back to Tampa? Probably not for a long time, to be honest. I used to think that MI40 was the best gym in the world. Actually, I think I found a better one. Pure Muscles is just unbelievable. So probably not for a while, but I'm happy to hear from you, brother. Might be good. And when you read a question, you think, yeah, I'm not going to say that one. How did you not care what people thought when you first started posting? So I definitely did care. I'm still care. I care in a different way now. I don't care so much as to the judgment of me posting, but more of what I'm posting. So there's definitely a form of it that still happens. I think in order to get over something like that, little exposures help, little small uncomfortable scenarios help. So maybe you just start with one story. Maybe you start with something that's a little bit less aggressively in the field that you want to do to make you feel more comfortable, and then eventually, step by step, uncomfortable position by uncomfortable position, you can get put into that place where you're actually a little bit more comfortable getting that uncomfortable, and more uncomfortable positions seem more comfortable to you. So definitely got to try and just dip your toe in, so to speak, which is kind of what I did. I started off with just post every now and again, kind of wait to see if I got anything else, and then you realize those people that hate on you and judge you just do it in their own time. So you don't ask them, you don't talk to them about it, you'll be fine. And then eventually they'll ask how you did it. They'll always ask why when you're coming up, and then when you're there, they'll go, how did you do it? And then they'll say, when you were asking why, I was out fucking doing it. So, just try as much as you can to just not give a fuck, Let's say you've only got a certain amount of fucks to give a day. Give them to the people that deserve it, right? That's the way I see it. And the people that don't, save those fucks. That's straight out the art of not giving a fuck. I struggle with mind to muscle connection. How can I improve it? This is a really good question, because I actually think that mind to muscle connection is probably one of the biggest aspects of training, and if not more so than ever right now, I'm trying to exercise that. The less actual weight you can put on the bar with the same stimulus is going to be better. Categorically going to be better. You're going to have less weight going through your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, all of that pressure on joint integrity. That's all going to be affected by heavy weight. So if you could do the same stimulus with a lower weight, you're going to have a better time all round. So I would always encourage you to focus on the mind to muscle connection. How to improve it: do things slower, Do things nice and slow, like really feel the connection. If you're doing a bicep curl, look at your damn bicep, you know, bring it up with the palm of the hand, thinking about contracting the bicep as hard as you can, look at it contracting, feel it contracting. If you need to do it single arm, two arm, whatever helps you feel the movement the best, then that's what you're gonna have to do. But slow it down, really focus, take the weight down, not too much. I think there has to be adequate weight there to feel the difference, and feel the weight, but not so much that you're taking away from like the feel of the movement, because you can definitely get to that place where you can load the joints, you can load that you call them like passive tissues, the ones that kind of bounce back, tendons, ligaments, they like offer you a little bit of extra there when you're bouncing out of weights and stuff. So it's very easy when you're chasing down a logbook and you train in like a progressive manner, it's very easy to get lost of that, so be careful. Let's see. Why aren't you sponsored by a supplement or protein brand? I'm not sponsored by a single supplement or supplement brand, but I am sponsored by Insight Supplements, who sell supplements. So I am sponsored. You can use Josh10 for discount. They are incredible. I'm actually waiting for my first package out here while I've been in Canada. I probably should have got one sent out while I was here, just for like business purposes. It looks better opening something while you're here, but I actually got sent out a package before we left, and I brought it all with me. So I've not had the need for anything until right now. So hopefully next few days that should arrive, and maybe I'll do an unboxing on here on my YouTube channel, guys. So yeah, from grinding videos in your small Anfield room. I probably wouldn't have, I don't know, I always get organised questions. How do you remain so humble? So I often get called not humble. I often get called arrogant. I often get called, I don't know, whatever it is. I think somewhat that just comes with the territory of progressing. I actually think, like, if you're progressing in your life, there's always going to be someone who isn't progressing, and sometimes that person who isn't progressing, not always, but sometimes that person who isn't progressing looks at that person who is progressing and thinks, look at them showing off, when really they're just like living in their own moment and not really like doing it. Like, arrogant is like, for me anyway, going out of your way to make sure people know X, Y, and Z that makes you in a good light, right, or whatever it is. And I just think when you don't really care about that type of thing and you're doing your own thing, no worries. It's all good. Do whatever you need to do. So they're gonna cut through the wall right now, so I feel like I'm gonna wait and come back. And we're back. I might have to go again, but I'm hoping that right now for the next 20 minutes, so we're good. So just to kind of finish upon that, I think that the idea of like practicing gratitude is pretty profound in remaining grounded, I think, and a lot of people just forget to do that, which is pretty easy to do, of course, when you get given things, or it feels like you get given things on the plate. It's hard to do that, so I think it's one of the most important things that I do. Like, I do remain grateful. I do always try and give back, put ourselves in a position where it makes sense to just, what goes around comes around, man. Just like, there's something about that energy of not being that way that just doesn't make me feel good, so I kind of steer away from it. Anyway, who do you see as your biggest competitor to 1MR? So competitor, it's a little bit different, right? Because there's leagues to the game, which is important to understand of what league that you're in. So there's not many people in my league, right? Because it's like the one above just starting. So the only person I can think of, and I don't want to say as a competitor, is Brandon Harding, like Hardbody, because he does accessories, we do accessories. He started a couple years back, I started a couple years back. He might even be a step ahead in terms of everything else. I don't know, I'm not 100% sure. I don't follow the brand overly, but I do think that, I guess on paper, that's what it is. So got to be realistic. Yeah, who do I want to be? I mean, the top of the top, SPD would be good. Like, I want to compete against SPD. I want to compete against Tough, who are at the top of the accessory game. But also, I need to be serious that I need to up the clothing game as well. So we'll try both. Regardless of financial package, if I could be sponsored by a major clothing brand, who? So this is basically just like, what's my favorite clothing brand, really, isn't it? I would say I've already got it, pretty much. in Alphalete, just because the amount that they drop, like they drop pretty much every month. It's not always guys, so maybe every other month. It's always new styles, new colors, new things that are in style. So, and they're the things that I love to wear. You know, they're the things that I like to represent, always have done, you know, from the start of when I followed Alphalete. So I'm already there. If I was to go maybe a little bit further, maybe Lululemon, but I do think that if I had like full access to Lululemon like I do Alphalete, I would like run out of options very quickly, because they have a core line and they run that core line very, very often, and it's very hard for me to fit in like properly into the Lululemon. So, but I love Lululemon. Lessons learned from sobriety in Dubai. Impactful. That it's not good to have something have control of you. That makes sense. No matter what it is, no matter if you feel like it adds to your life or anything like that. If you're in control and you bring it into your life, I think I'm okay with that, if that makes sense. But I think I was probably at a point with the weed that I probably wasn't like in control of it as such. Like it was like the first thing I thought about, and the first thing that would come up before anything else, which isn't necessarily the right thing to do, I don't think. And I think taking that time away allowed me to refocus on things that matter a little bit more and hold a bit more weight. And when I kind of came back with a newfound of that, I think I've kind of like, I could stop whenever. Like I feel very in control versus where I wasn't before. Like it's just not the first thing that I think about. It probably helps that you don't have to like organize it, meet someone, go somewhere in somewhere fucking dark and dingy that you don't want to be. You can just go to a nice shop where there's nice people. It makes a big difference, and it's not demonized here, so it makes a big difference. You don't feel as as I should stop as potentially you do it elsewhere. So yeah, that's the biggest lesson I was, don't let something control me. I think that's really important. What's to do when a body isn't responding to a deficit as it should? Get this all the time in coaching. You take away food, you take away calories, you increase activity, you know, you push more drugs, whatever it is. You'll be in that place where sometimes people, they're lying to you and they're eating more food, not doing the cardio, or they're just generally not reacting too well. And that happens from either thyroid issues, hormone issues, but metabolic issues. Sometimes just maybe you've done like a huge fat loss project and you stop responding. So the only other place that you logically can go is up, right? You can't just keep pushing that, keep reducing, increasing deficit, reducing food, increasing cardio. It doesn't make sense. So the only other way you can go is up, and you'd have to do that slowly. Build muscle. Muscle builds metabolism. It allows you to eat more later down the line. So you got to go up slowly. Bring up your activity level. Bring food up very, very slowly. Increase your training volume, gain some muscle, and do that over a long period of time. You're not here for like quick gains in metabolically here or muscle wise. So you got to come up slowly when you do it. And that is literally it. Like, in the most layman's term, was without taking you through the whole process. Yes, there's pull back and pull forwards, but generally speaking, what is your podcast? This is Bridging the Gap podcast. Also, a lot of people are asking why it's not on Spotify. We just haven't been exporting it in MP3. So when you don't do that, the hosting app that I use, Podbean, doesn't recognize it and doesn't distribute it onto Spotify. So that's our mistake. But from now on, this podcast, those of you guys who listen on Spotify, from now on, all the podcasts will be on Spotify, because we'll just export in the right format. We literally just did, I don't even know. That's my bad. But here we go. Old school versus new school, old school and new school bodybuilders. Who you training with and which muscle group? Ooh, what do you consider old school? I'm probably fucking old school these days. I'm 30. My guys are. I'm still a C-Bum fan, let's face it. That's new school. You know what? Whichever team C-Bum is on, that's the team I want. Thoughts on length and partials training? Talk going around. No, I think length and partials are a really, really good way to finish things off. I wouldn't do it on your first set. Length and partial is just taking a muscle into its lengthened position, so most stretched out position, and then just training it in that range. So just like little small pulses on a chest press, or little small pulses on a bicep curl. I think do that at the end of your workout when you've exhausted and fatigued the short and middle range. So if you want a full range challenge, you want to take that muscle to full range failure, make sure you can't get to short range, which is fully contracted in a bicep curl, or halfway down a bicep curl for middle range, and then fully extended for the length and range. Make sure you can't do that by the time you finish, and that is a full range challenge. So I think it's good. No issues with throwing those in. Best individuals to learn from in the industry, very good question. John Jewett, my coach, is probably one of the best. He's got like a J3U university. I've been through it. So many people have been through it. It's like one of the only high level courses you can take in specifically bodybuilding. So John Jewett, I'd say Physique Collective is still pretty good. Trained by JP, still got a wealth of knowledge on his website. And then just like podcasts, man, like just listen, consume content, pros and cons of insulin. So pros, you're going to offset your pancreas just delivering yourself insulin all day, every day, especially if you're eating a lot of food. Negatives, if you overdo it, you can just become insulin resistant. So you'll just basically cause yourself to go diabetic, but it's very hard to do. You got to be taking a lot of insulin, and where I do it, I use a calculation. So yeah. Opinions on people using steroids for lifestyle compared to competitive sports. So my opinion is that I don't think you should do it. I don't have opinions on those people if they do it. I really, really, really don't mind. All for you. I think if you're making your life happier and you're doing something that makes your life happier, I have no right to be annoyed. Whether or not I think you should do it or not, I don't think the risk's worth it. I don't want to take years of my life to look a little bit better. Some people do. I want to take years of my life to look superhuman, not like better in terms of the real world. So I personally wouldn't. Who are some of your favorite fitness influencers and YouTubers at the moment? I would say Will Tenney, just because of the humor he brings. I don't watch too many like high level guys except for like Mike Israetel, and then John Jewett, really. But then you're losing, like, no offense, you're losing like the entertainment factor, the funny part. So I like a nice mixture. When I'm consuming content, I like a bit of the entertainment. Like I'll have like an education mode where I'm like, no, I want to learn, and then I'll get the podcast in and I'll watch those guys. But then when I'm watching YouTube to relax, I kind of like the funny aspect. So Glenn Gillen, people like that are really, really good. I'm gonna miss these Gatorades when we go. I tell you that much. What's my life plan? That's the most broad question I've ever seen in my life. What's my life plan? If you have one, what's next? I have like a 10-year plan, I think, in like a couple sentences. Build Wanamar to be something that transcends the UK market and kind of filters out into the wider community, the worldwide community. Be able to coach a handful of people, like 15 to 20 at a very, very high level would be really, really nice. To be invested in property, to be invested in smart investments which are paying me enough passively within 10 years to potentially be able to retire if I can smartly put away enough food, put away enough while not sacrificing the businesses. Like if I need to extend that time frame, I'll extend it, because I'm not going to sacrifice the businesses. I need to build those smartly. I need to build those the right way. Now I've done it the wrong way for too many years, and it's bit me in the foot already. I've blagged it for too long, and it's time to not blag it anymore and know what the fuck I'm doing. So that is definitely the road I'm going to go down. Just take my time when there's bigger steps up in the business. Take my time when there's new roles to be had. Take my time when there's like new stems of the company, right? So you'd have like the finance stem, you'd have the marketing stem, the social media stem. Once there's like just take my time over building those and the teams around those, because I've already made many mistakes doing that. Is there a reason? I already answered this. Can you explain why an oral anavar only cycle is a bad idea? So orals are very like situational in the fact that you should only use them in situations to look acutely better, because once you take them, you look better. Once you stop taking them, you stop looking so good. They're not like superly anabolic muscle building compounds. Super anabolic compounds. Like, they're not going to just build muscle and then you're not just going to like keep it super easy. You can't like taper down, taper off, for example. With testosterone, like, you go to 300 milligrams, you build muscle. You go down to 150, it's going to be hard for you to lose that muscle that you've built. Whereas if you go from 50 milligrams of anavar to 0 milligrams, because you can't taper down an anavar because you have to come off it, because you can't come down to like a basic basal level, and then it's very, very hammering on liver, kidney, heart, versus the same amount of anabolism you'd get from testosterone. You'd have 0 side effects. So why would you take the route that gives you loads and loads of side effects? Okay, it's an oral, you don't have to inject it, but just inject testosterone in it. Like, that is just way better for you on every single level, unfortunately. I'm only going to do a few more. I know we're like 25 minutes in or so, but we're going to do a few more. Social responsibility in the fitness industry as a human and as an influencer. Oh, there is something here at the door. Sorry, the very well interrupted podcast today. So I definitely feel that there is a little bit of social responsibility, but I don't know whether, I'm still torn on whether there is like complete ownership of influencers over what they influence. Because some people don't even want to be influencers. Some people just post shit of themselves and they just fucking influence people, right? I would say I am actively trying to influence people by the fucking nature of the word, not like seriously, but like I give out education, I am actively putting out information that I want people to take in and run off with it. So I think there's some responsibility for me to take if it's the wrong advice, especially if I continually do that. It just gives out the look that that's what I do. So everything I do can be looked at with that eye, with that lens, that it's an influence. So yeah, I am conscious of it. But there are people who are just fucking good looking, great physique, and they just post pictures of themselves doing a front double bicep and say, Myron brah. Like, are they social influencers? Should they be held accountable for their advice? Like, I would be tentative to say yes. I think I would probably say no. Like, those guys who, I guess they are like adversely or inadvertently influencing people because people look up to their physiques, whatever they do. But when they're not that I'm self-proclaimed, but like, if it's not super obvious that everything they do is to give like value, I don't know whether they can be like held accountable if like every now and again they go, take this protein to get bigger. Like, I don't know. Is it ignorance? Is it naivety? Is that my naivety and ignorance? I don't know. But there's something that I think there is a distinction between like the fit influencer, which is like the person who just looks really fit and just doesn't do anything but look fit and put funny quotes and then maybe like sell something, versus like content, like proper content creators who are trying to give a lot of value. I think there is a difference, and that's just the note I wanted to make. For me personally, like, yeah, I feel social responsibility. There is social responsibility. I think that people who do what I do should have that social responsibility, especially when they get like think about things I talk about weed, talk about like in anabolics, talk about pushing my body. Like, there's responsibility there when you talk about those things, and there's young kids who are trying to learn the same things. So yeah, good question. I'm going to leave it at 25 minutes, super simple. Nothing crazy today, guys, but we'll be back every Wednesday. Maybe you'll see us on Thursday, but we'll be filming every Wednesday, like I said last week. Peace and love, everybody. Bye-bye.